debt to GDP ratio was approximately 53%, which, while concerning, left a room for targeted fiscal investments to stimulate growth. However, by 2024, Ramaphosa's austerity-focused approach has driven this ratio up to a staggering 74% or even higher. Despite painful cuts to health, education, and social security, debt has spiraled, limiting our ability to invest in South Africa's future. Under MKP leadership, we would prioritize inclusive growth, ensuring a stronger economy that sustainably reduces debt while improving social outcomes. Third, South Africa's Gini coefficient has risen to a world-leading 0.67 in 2024, showing that inequality has deepened under Ramaphosa's administration. This statistic underscores how wealth and income remain concentrated in the hands of the few, with little progress made to uplift the marginalized black majority. This is a direct result of economic policies that overlook transformation, employment equity, and fail to support essential public services, especially those meant to uplift black communities. Lastly, in 2018, our unemployment rate stood at 24%. Under the current administration, these numbers have reached a crisis low levels, with unemployment now sitting at 33% and youth unemployment close to 60%. IMF-backed austerity has failed to create or stimulate industries, or to even create jobs that could support the youth and small businesses. Now let's reflect on the consequences of the ANC-DA IMF austerity-based budgeting, which are not merely reflected in a macroeconomic indicators, but they also affect the sectors that are critical to our people. For instance, our healthcare system has been chronically underfunded over the last 6 years. Facilities lack resources, medical supplies, and personnel due to insufficient budget allocations. This has led to poorer health outcomes, lower life expectancy, and suffering for millions, particularly those in underserviced black communities. The ANC-DA IMF MTBPS fails to address this crime against our people. This MBPS by the ANC-DA IMF destruction, it is not only with health, but it is also seen to be quite determined to destroy our education system as well. Education is foundational to our economy, yet funding cuts have reduced per student spending by about 4% since 2018. Schools are inadequately equipped, leading to poor learning outcomes and unskilled workforce. Neglecting education limits opportunities for our youth and the backbone of our future workforce and entrepreneurs. The ANC-DA IMF MTBPS continues along this path, condemning our black children to a life of misery. Over the last 6 years, social grant increases have failed to keep up with inflation, leaving the most vulnerable citizens unable to meet their basic needs. Food prices, fuel costs have surged by over 30%, with electricity tariffs also more than doubling over the last 6 years. However, this ANC-DA IMF MTBPS fails to protect our children and the elderly. Funding cuts in the main budget, which are not only ratified by this alliance, have left communities vulnerable. Violent crime and gender-based violence are on the rise, and the lack of trained police officers and community resources have left our people feeling unsafe. Moreover, insufficient border control budget allocations have led to increased unregulated migration, adding strain on our already limited healthcare, education, and social services. Rather than addressing these pressing issues, this MTBPS has continued to neglect home like affairs, the two-part retirement system, and also the gold and foreign exchange contingency reserve account reform, rather than pursuing transformative policies. These measures offer temporary relief but fail to address South Africa's deeper economic issues. The two-part system may further lower the country's already minimal savings rate, which stands at a rate of 12.7% of GDP, limiting future investment. Meanwhile, the 150 billion rand gold and foreign exchange contingency reserve account covers less than 10% of interest burden over the next 3 years. Now, these initiatives fall short of the fundamental reforms needed to drive sustainable, transformative growth. Mkhonto's approach to South Africa's economic crisis, rooted in the People's Mandate, rejects these incremental IMF-backed measures. Instead, we advocate for transformative strategy comprehensively outlined in our People's Mandate, focused on land reform, financial repression, human capital development, infrastructure investment, and economic diversification. Land, which is the DP's favorite word, and financial repression will be implemented through non-budgetary actions, allowing the budget to prioritize human capital, R&D, infrastructure, and diversification in areas neglected by the ANC-DA alliance. This comprehensive approach aims to drive sustainable growth, job creation, and an improved quality of life for all South Africans. First, MKP will dramatically increase funding for education, healthcare, and social services. These investments in human capital are the backbone of sustainable economic growth, creating a skilled, healthy workforce and fostering resilient communities. Second, infrastructure is key to productivity. We will prioritize public investment to 15% of GDP. These investments, through our revitalized state-owned companies, will target clear nuclear energy, transport networks, and digital connectivity to boost productivity and attract investment. Infrastructure will serve as a cornerstone for job creation and economic growth. Third, and this is third before I conclude, the MKP budget will fund economic diversification and entrepreneurial risk-taking. Relying solely on traditional mining and agricultural sectors leaves us vulnerable. MKP will implement policies encouraging diversification into advanced manufacturing and tradable services. We will support future-ready growth through nuclear and green initiatives. Lastly, by increasing funding for immigration services, we can ensure effective border management and support for regulated immigration, benefiting both the economy and public services while fostering strong community relations. In conclusion, the ANC-DA alliance, backed with IMF's policies, have left South Africa stagnating with declining social outcomes, a worsening cost of living crisis, and a failing economy. The two-pot retirement system and the gold reserves account, in effect, are temporary measures that cannot resolve the deeper crisis. The Mkhonto Party, however, has a clear plan inspired by the People's Mandate. By investing in our people, infrastructure, and economic potential, we will build an economy that serves all our people and lays the foundation for a prosperous and equitable future for South Africa. Thank you. We can leave the moment for questions now.
Yeah.
Chief Whip?
Maybe before the question starts, maybe a quick paragraph or so from our party leader in Parliament, just your impression of what you heard there. This is a statement, we've done the statement, but just a high-level input.
Thank you. This session in the afternoon, we are now better off after sitting. It was a repetition of what we have had over the past 8 years. As MK Party, we sincerely believe that failure, these huge budget cuts, particularly in the field of education, are going to be detrimental in future. There is no self-respecting country which does not invest in education. We take education very seriously in the MK Party. The DA led alliance does not seem to take education as seriously as we do. That's all I wish to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The two members serving that committee of sport, Comrade Des van Rooyen and Brian Molefe. So they'll make just a paragraph input. Des?
Well, we are here for what in financial terms we call a lackluster budget statement, which didn't inspire any confidence, but also which didn't address the issue of the alternative solutions to address the triple challenges of unemployment, inequality and poverty that is currently bedeviling our country. So we really think this was just more of what we can call a compliance process, where they were just ticking the box without even necessarily following the right budget cycle. Because if they followed the right budget cycle, they will have started with the presenting to the Parliament the medium-term development plan. The medium-term development plan, for the first time in the history of the existence of this Parliament, was not presented by this seventh administration. An indication of deviation from the norm, and definitely this is undermining the Parliament, but also this is undermining the legislated prescribed processes of the budget of this country. So definitely for us, this statement today was not inspired. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brian, do you want to conclude?
Yes, I think this medium-term budget policy statement confirms that the total disjuncture between government important planning tool, which is the National Development Plan. The targets of the National Development Plan are out of the window. For example, the National Development Plan said unemployment should be reduced to 6% by 2030. Unemployment has increased to 32% from 25% in 2010. And so that target is, there is no hope that it will be met by 2030 when the National Development Plan targets are supposed to have been met. There was no mention in the medium-term budget policy statement of the total disregard and the total disregard, as I say, of the planning targets that have been set. But most importantly, the medium-term budget policy statement admits that at this time we do not have a medium-term developmental plan. So the medium-term developmental plan has not been finalized. The question is, if the medium-term developmental plan has not been finalized, what is it that we're doing here? What framework are we talking about when we don't have a plan? So for us, what was said here was just a lot of words, very nice English, but it does not translate into jobs, it does not translate into reducing inequality, it does not translate into reducing poverty. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think everyone here would want to comment, but in the interest of time, we will open to the media. Anybody? Any question?
They're covered.
They're all covered. Okay, thank you very much.
Only waiting for your membership.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.